Yeah.
Game over.
What's going on, everybody? We already got we was pregame. We had it popping. So what's going on, everybody? How you guys doing, man? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody feeling this weekend? Once again, before we say anything else, we do greatly appreciate the support from everybody that come out and watch every Saturday, that retweet, that watch the videos, to support the show in general. Thank you guys for just being so awesome. So once again, we got another show lined up, a fantastic show, bunch of topics, and we have an awesome first-time, brand new guest. Now, I'm gonna throw this out there. I have been a fan of this gentleman for a little while, from a distance, obviously, but it's always awesome to have new, talented, it's very intelligent and engaging people on the show. So we'll start with our guest of honor here. Shout out to you, Everborn. Let everybody know what you do, where you're from. Just kind of give some general information and where they can find you as well.
Oh, all right. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me here. I am breathing rare air. I mean, I know I'm in my place, but you get that. You get the
yeah, I get it.
But no, seriously, thank you for having me here. Thank you for reaching out. And I am the creator of the Everborn universe. You can check us out at everbornsaga.com. You can also find me on PlayStation and Xbox at Everborn Saga. And if you want to talk to me on Twitter, it's Steve AM like the morning time Johnson. And please, if you check out the link in this description, we are doing a Kickstarter for a new series that we are putting out. We have a series of basically I'm building my own version of the MCU, but through the lens of manga and in the fantasy genre. Right. Nice. So we have basically 4 series that are all telling a different part of the same story. So you can jump on with Prince of Arcadia, which we're up to chapter 3, getting ready to drop chapter 4 like next month.
Nice.
Ariel's Adventure, which is this right here. You can see this shirt. That's Ariel. That's getting ready that's the one for the Kickstarter. We have the Redlands coming out, and then we have the Remnant, which is also being worked on as we speak. And we have a game coming out. I am the writer, and I'm the sole developer on that 2D platformer game. I think you guys have seen it, but thank you for having me on, and I'm going on forever. But check out the link. We want to get 100 people watching before we start that. But let's get into what we came here for, which is the topics.
Awesome, man. Once again, I appreciate you, everyone, for taking the time out. Busy Saturday as usual. Never know what your schedule is, but you are here with us today, so we're going to rock this thing out, man. And let's get to my compadres here. What's up, Stag? How you doing, brother? How's your week been? Let everybody know what's going on with you, man.
Week's been good, man. I've been just hanging out, streaming, doing the thing I do every day. Been playing that new Werewolf Apocalypse game, and it's fun. You guys saw me playing it in the warm-up, but yeah, man, just here, ready to do the thing.
All right, let's get it popping there. By the way, how is the streams going? Are they everything's still going really well?
Yeah, everything's going great, man. Freaking Friday, I bought these. Well, I bought them earlier in the week, but I bought these freaking fiery challenge jelly bellies, and
oh shit,
I got a few donations Friday, and I had to eat 7 Carolina Reaper jelly beans live on stream, and that was rough. I clipped.
You probably sitting on a pillow right
if now. Anybody wants to see it, I posted it yesterday. So yeah, it was. Those are hot. Those are slightly hot, and will make your ears burn.
Nice. Well, we glad to have you here. Hopefully, you sitting on something comfortable.
You're like the 4th person that made that joke, and I'm like, yo, I'm good.
Good. Nice. For sure. Okay,
cool. If I had eaten the real shit, it probably would have tore me up. But
well, glad to have you here, man. Every Saturday, always a comic relief hanging out with us, man. So next, Pong, how you been, brother? How's your weekend?
Ooh, busy as always. Big news week in the gaming industry, so that's been fun. Busy with podcasting and trying to get in some gaming here. So been did some Master Chief Collection until about 2:00 in the morning today, I guess I should say, after our show last night, and trying to get this battle pass on Call of Duty done and over with. it's double XP weekend, so can't waste that time either. So otherwise, been great, man. Hanging in there, and like everybody's kind of stated, we've got a big list of topics. Everborn is here. Man, everything Everborn said, go check out his stuff. It's been incredible. I was in chat when he first showed up on Boom's show, and I went and checked out his stuff right away. Everybody go check it out. It's worth your time. Just a talented man. And he's putting together some real cool stuff over there. So go check that out. And chat, beautiful to see y'all here every week. And we wouldn't be here. Nobody would be here without you guys. So appreciate you guys coming out and supporting us. So let's get down to it here.
Awesome. Let's throw this over to you, Centurion. How you been, brother? Let everybody know what's going on with you, man.
Oh, what is up, guys? Oh, man, I'm excited. It's Saturday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's actually really nice to meet you, Everborn. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go check you out your everything you do right after the show because
thank you so much.
Man, I love when I see people passionate about what they do and also just wanting to go out and put everything on the line and just kind of, chase that dream. So it's really awesome to see people do that. And
I appreciate you.
Today's topics are going to be definitely awesome. What have I been doing, though? Working way too much, but at least found time to start making a video and update my channel a little bit. So looking forward to that coming out. And also finally rolled the credits on Godfall. That is like the only game I've had any time to kind of play a little bit of.
Nice. So you've been gaming, doing a little bit of everything. Got the channel
Pretty
updated,
much.
man. Awesome. Shout out to you as well. Shout out to everybody in the chat, seeing some new names. Ice Cold. Shout out to you, Marion. Shout out to Marion. Always on Twitter hanging out. Shout out to you, brother. So last but not least here, man, Fuzzy Belvedere. How you been, brother?
Yeah, not too bad. Just been busy for the most part with work, but as far as squeezing in some gaming, got some Control in. Finished up the medium last week, but man, for the most part, just looking forward to finishing Control here soon. Glad to have Everborn on here, and glad we have some new faces and stuff like that in the chat. So let's get into these topics.
Let's dive in. Let's dive right in. So we're not waiting any longer, everybody. So let's just start with the poll of the week as we always do. So there are some new faces in here, so I got to let you guys know how this show goes. So every single Monday, I do a poll of the week on Twitter. By the way, all of that information is in the description below. Follow me there to see the poll of the week, and then we talk about it here on the show every Saturday. So poll of the week this week was, with MLB The Show 21 now being available crossplay on everything, which one of these games would you be okay with being crossplay? So we had Neo 2, I guess, Sea of Thieves, phone done locked on me, Super Smash Bros, or other. So I gave an other option as well. So we'll start with you, Everborn. Obviously, this is just kind of a fun, pie in the sky kind of topic. We like to start one on the show just to kind of break the ice. So out of those three options, or you have other, maybe there's another game you think you'd like to have crossplay, which one would you choose and why?
I am going to go with other, and I'm going to talk a little bit shit for a second. Listen, the other would be Street Fighter 5, or I guess they're going to do 6 now. I thought it was some punk shit that Sony did, locking it behind, keeping it exclusive to the PlayStation. I know you could play on PC, but I feel like Street Fighter is a game that should be for everybody, right? And I'm not trying to virtue signal or whatever it is. What I'm saying is it is a fighting game, and that genre in itself is so niche. And I feel like Street Fighter as an IP was held back by being exclusive to that platform. Anything else to me is fair game, right? And I know Sony kicked Capcom some money when they needed it at the time, and Microsoft probably should have kicked up some money too. I don't know the particulars there, but I think games like that, those kind of high quality fighting games, should be just because of their competitive nature. I think that should be cross platform, right? And that's my thing. I think all those fighting games should be cross plat.
That makes sense, I 100% agree with you. And the funny thing is that when they announced Street Fighter 5 being exclusive, it didn't even get off to a good start. They had PlayStation, PSN had a bunch of issues because the game dropped when they were having a big Street Fighter tournament that weekend, PSN was having some issues.
Dude, that was the funniest thing to
They
watch
couldn't even have
happen,
the
man.
tournament.
That was awesome.
They couldn't even have the tournament because PSN was down. So it was just a bunch of other. Then they showed you like players, like characters one at a time, like all kind. It was a bunch of just madness. But I agree with you, Everborn. A game like that perfectly fits. It should be definitely cross-plat for everybody to play. So I agree with you 100%. Let's throw this over to you then, Stag. We'll switch the order up a little bit today to make things a little interesting, and just get your opinion on, out of those 3 or 4 options, which one would you choose and why?
And I picked other, and I answered nothing off the top of my head, and I'm still at that place right now, to be honest.
It's okay.
I agree with everyone, though. Like, the only time I might disagree is when a fighting game comes out and it came out as an exclusive. Other than that, I agree that Street Fighter should be cross-platform. Or
I mean, are there really any new fighters though? There's really not.
Nah, not any new, but we can go all the way back to say PS1. Like they released Battle Arena Toshinden. Is Killer Instinct cross-platform?
No.
No.
I think that's Xbox
it's
only.
PC, right?
So.
It's not PC. You can't play Killer Instinct on PC.
I think you can. It still is. It's
you can play Street Fighter on PC also though. So,
what?
but I said they let you play Street Fighter on PC. I just think it was super corny to me that the one that Xbox didn't have it, but also I would have just liked to see cross play in something like a fighting game, and I don't think we have seen that yet. Right, all the smack talk on Twitter about with console war stuff. If you could actually you know what I'm saying, play somebody in Street Fighter and beat them up. You know what I mean?
What about your box now?
Exactly.
We'd really be able to put some of these tests of what controller is better to the test.
Right, exactly.
You might have beat me.
All that power talking, you can't.
No, we're good. We're good. I really don't have much to add to that.
Was it the Street Fighter thing though? Because
crossplay is not a huge thing to me. So it doesn't affect me either way. There's enough people that in the multiplayer ecosystem that I like to play in, and I don't do a lot of multiplayer, so I'm happy with what I got. If everybody wants crossplay, more power to them. I really don't care.
Okay, nothing wrong with that, brother. Nothing wrong with that at all. So we're gonna actually throw this one over to you, Centurion. Get your opinion on this, man. Out of those 3 or 4 options, which one would you choose and why?
Well, before the Street Fighter thing, wasn't it purely because PlayStation pretty much funded that entire game?
Yeah.
Something along those lines. Something like that.
It's when Capcom was really struggling and they needed money, like Everborn said.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And
I blame Microsoft too.
Obviously, Microsoft didn't want to throw down money at the time on much. That's
true.
Xbox gave money for Dead Rising, so that was kind of their play.
That's true. Dead Rising 3, right, at the time?
I think it was Dead Rising 3, and then it also spun into that year exclusivity on Dead Rising 4.
Yeah. Go ahead, Centurion. My bad.
No, you're all good. Man, this is it's fun to talk about this stuff. I remember the Street Fighter thing. I remember sitting there watching when the PS4 Pro was the cool thing, and watching a Street Fighter tournament. I don't play it, but it's fun to watch them. And when the game locked up in the middle of the tournament and it crashed to the home screen, it was oh, that sucks. Anyways, yeah, the crowd definitely reflected how that felt. Anyways, so for me, I'm staring at your list and I'm like Stagger. This was actually a tough one to kind of contemplate because the idea of exclusives, no, this is my beautiful sacred garden. But with your question, are we just talking cross play or are we talking actual cross platform? The game is also going to be on other consoles.
Well,
it's not just.
Aren't they kind of one and the same? Don't you have to have it on the platform?
Well, if you really think about it, technically Sea of Thieves has crossplay between PC, and that's why I'm just are we talking broadening the scope?
Yeah, I mean broadening the scope. I should have been.
No, you're fine. See, now that's where, and this is not a dig, I'm sorry, but staring at the list, I put some really good thought into this, and I really wanted to say that because it's been so long, I really do think it's time for Sea of Thieves to kind of broaden its scope, and it would be fun to
why that's an exclusive.
But the thing is, it would be fun to show
that they have that's super popular.
Exactly.
To be perfectly honest.
But it also would show what happens when you unshackle your developers and you don't give them this pre-cut formula for a game that everybody has to somehow kind of, hornswoggle or finagle into anything that they want to create to kind of be on this platform. And that's where it would be nice to kind of highlight the artistic talents that actually exist over here. And when you really think about it in one game, it really comes to Sea of Thieves, just because the direction they wanted to take the game, the art behind it, still has some of the best water effects seen in gaming. And
Big
it would
puddles.
also,
Big ass puddles.
big ass puddles. Now we're looking for some race tracing. Anyway, so definitely what it comes down to, though, it would also be fun to have some pretty big pirate battles between. At this point, you would be having some pretty sick battles between PC players, PlayStation, and Xbox.
Especially if they could
all
fly
throwing
like
it
their
down.
console of choice flag.
Oh, that was
dude,
crazy.
I mean, like, I'm just saying, like, if they were to try to make this like a worldwide, like kind of embracing what would inevitably happen. And like, literally, I know eventually there at one time we would probably have a part of Sea of Thieves that would just be an utter battlefield.
I actually don't disagree about Sea of Thieves. I think there's a real opportunity there for Microsoft to sort of explode that game in that, I'm not saying that it would be as big as Fortnite, but it could become that kind of thing where like it's everywhere, right? And if they do that, I think that one, it will bring in more money to sort of the gaming division at Microsoft, which will keep them more bullish on maybe more acquisitions or just investing more into other IPs like that. So, and I don't think that anyone has an affinity towards sort of Sea of Thieves, and meaning I don't think people associate it with Xbox in a way that like you couldn't put Gears or Halo
Oh no, that's
on
not
a
happening.
PlayStation.
Every time
right?
you say it, you hear
Sea of
Gears
Thieves.
Forza Halo. You never hear Gears Forza Halo
No.
Sea of Thieves.
Right, exactly. And it's the same thing with Fable or Avowed, some of these other things. I don't think anybody would mind if you put Sea of Thieves on a PlayStation. I think it would be actually a smart move to put it there.
And I figured it highlights how Microsoft actually the development process is a little bit different over at Xbox on how they're willing to explore more off the wall multiplayer based games.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Sea of Thieves was a very, very unique game, and I said this about the game when I first saw it. I said the best thing about Sea of Thieves is that it's literally in its own lane. There's no other. It's not really. It doesn't have to compete with anything else. And the game.
Somebody tried to copy it, right? So I saw
there was
Atlas tried, I think.
but that was more of an art just with pirate ships, right?
I think they were trying to become more of the adult version, like they were trying to like copy Sea of Thieves and what's that one that Ubisoft can seem
Skull
to
and
know?
Bones or something
Skull
like that.
and Bones or whatever. Yeah, like their version of like Black Flag, just the sailing mechanics.
Yeah.
Definitely Atlas I felt like was one of those games that was trying to embrace it, and obviously their launch went off a lot worse than Sea of Thieves, if I believe.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and throw this over to Pong. Let's get your opinion, man. Keep this thing moving, man. So what you think, Pong? What option did you choose and why, brother?
Well, my first option actually was Sea of Thieves for all the reasons everybody just went across. Great job, guys, discussing, because all of what you said was true. And again, yes, I unfortunately the way the business works, there's still exclusives. I'd love just to own one console and own all the games. That's the way I love it. But Sea of Thieves is unique, and I could see it going across all consoles and giving that experience and opening up a whole new world and a ton of money coming in. So that was my initial thought. And then I got selfish. Okay. So I chose other. And I went with Final Fantasy 14. This has been promised to us, and it still has not happened. And I love my Final Fantasy 14. I would love to get back into it. And I would love to see it come to Xbox finally and have cross-platform play. MMOs are a perfect genre to do this, and you get the player base up. You always have somebody to play with no matter what. And Final Fantasy 14 doesn't have that problem. But the point being is that there's a lot of people on Xbox that are missing it. Yes, Final Fantasy has always been attached to Sony. It's kind of that thing, but now that's no longer the case. We've seen the Final Fantasy games come over to Game Pass now. The exclusivity, yes, they still make those time deals, but it's no longer just on Sony. So Final Fantasy 14 would be a fantastic addition to bring to crossplay, and I'd love to see it finally hit Xbox and let all of us over on this side enjoy it. So that's where I went.
Okay, and it's funny because you're talking about that, and we're not even getting 16 either. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
so it's a bit ironic. But go ahead, Fuzz. It's on you, brother.
Well, I really like the Sea of Thieves idea that everyone's talked about. That I think would be a smart move on Microsoft's end. But I kind of went with my original selfish plan with Smash Bros. Just because there's a little bit of every, I guess, division or dev in gaming kind of mixed into that game. So having that on multiple platforms, yeah, I know it's big pie in the sky because Nintendo's never going to.
Nintendo irritates me. They get everybody else's stuff but do not share anything. Like,
yeah, I mean, they take their ball and go home type of deal.
Yeah,
but I would just like to see something along those lines on every platform. There should be. I guess Nintendo now is going to be the only one that, other than some of their older stuff, that it's only on their platform only, no matter what. I mean, I know they tried to go the cell phone route, and that didn't quite work out as well on all of their IPs, but it would just be nice to have Smash Bros. Across the board. And then that way you have, iconic characters from each brand, as well as older brands, mixed in there. And, you just, at that point, hopefully they would have a way of using Azure or some sort of decent online capability so you could do the cross-play remotely as opposed to being tethered or anything along those lines. But that's just my 2 cents on it.
No, nothing wrong with that at all. And I think we've all kind of settled. Sea of Thieves is a game unlike the other ones on the list, and I almost missed it. I almost didn't put it on the list. I thought I'm like, that's actually perfect because I think it's a perfect kind of game that would fit that out of the Xbox IPs for sure. I don't really think anything else on Xbox is exclusive.
Grounded
makes as much. Oh, Grounded.
Grounded is another one I think would serve them well with that.
Yeah, that fits that model as well too. But so once again, chat, let us know what you guys think about the poll of the week. We do it every single Monday. Follow me on Twitter. All the information is in the description below. Before we move on to the next topic, I do want to give some quick shout outs here in the chat. Shout out to ATL. I think it's Meisuko. I saw Lady AF in here. Blue, what's up, Blue? How you doing, brother? Just everybody watching live as well that's not in the chat. We greatly appreciate you guys. Super chat is live as well. If you guys want to, donate, whatever you guys want to do, that's completely up to you. All of it helps support the show. So let's go ahead and move on. I'm actually going to mix the topics up a little bit because there's certain things I want to get to over others as far as the questions this week. So we're going to start
answer the questions unless they're in order.
So we're going to be talking a little bit about the medium right now because this is something that I really sat and thought about this. I damn near made a standalone video, probably should have, about it, and just the success, because the medium kicks that idea that Game Pass does not work right in the face, like it's not sustainable right in the face, or it hurts devs because they made their money back, development costs, everything back within 48 hours, a week maybe. I don't even think it was a week, maybe 2-3 days. They made the money back. So it kind of, that whole idea, that whole discussion about is Game Pass sustainable? How does it help devs? Do they lose money? That's not an issue, clearly. These companies, these developers continue to fill Game Pass with games because they see the innate value. They see the numbers. They have that data. And it just makes sense to put that game there. So we'll start with you once again, Everborn. Not so much about the medium, although it's a fantastic game. Medium's a fantastic game, but just more so about the idea that Game Pass is not sustainable, as well as how does it affect devs. So what do you think about the medium success and what that means for Game Pass going forward?
Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit of what I think is some context, but just to level set. But I do agree with the point that it is sustainable, and I will come to that as my second point. But my first point is it is fantastic for Bloober Team that they were able to basically, you want to talk about how fast they made their budget back. Like they made their production budget back faster than people could change narratives on Twitter, right?
Almost impossible.
Right. And the thing is, just to throw a tiny bit of cold water, but I 100% agree, is that they are a small development house. So them making their money back is not the same as, say, Cyberpunk making their money back in day one, right? They got like 100 people, and the medium looks like I mean, I'm playing it right now, so I'm saying it looks like visually like fantastic, like a great game, except for those character animations, which is a little sus, but we can discuss that at a later date, right? But and because they had signed this exclusivity contract with Microsoft, I'm sure Microsoft covered a portion of, if not all, of the marketing cost. So them recouping that day one is not necessarily a lot of money. So that, but now let's come to the main point of Game Pass being sustainable. It is absolutely sustainable, right? But people look, it's not sustainable at 18 million, right? But it is sustainable when you start to hit those numbers, which they want to hit, which is 100 million, 150 million, right? And we saw the other day with the price hike debacle that they were trying to convert all of their users over, right? From Xbox Live Gold to Game Pass, right? And they know right now their base is 100 million monthly active users, right? And that's the number that I think everybody should always pay attention to, as opposed to units sold. So a lot of people say, you know, there's 100 and I don't know 20 million PlayStations out there, and Xbox only sold half that. But there are over 100 million monthly active users on Xbox Live. That is across Xbox, you know, Series S and X and Xbox One and all of those different SKUs, as well as PC. So the Xbox ecosystem is 100 million strong. And in Sony's quarterly results, they were 114 million monthly active users. So it's not as far off as people like to think it is. That's the first thing. But with Game Pass, once they hit sort of those economies of scale, once they get to 50 million, right? People are saying they'll maybe hit 30 million by the end of this year, right? 50 million in 2022 or 2023. How long does it take them to hit 100 million? And in that case, then that's what makes it sustainable. And they're in an investment mode now. What Microsoft is thinking about, what is this, the sustainability of this business 10 years from now? And I think what Satya Nadella sees, what Phil Spencer has convinced him of, is that you got your Office 365. Remember, they moved everybody over from paying like $300-400 for an Office license to now you pay a monthly fee for Office 365. That's what they're moving to, right? And Office 365, at least on the consumer side, is probably like, 100 million. And I think that's what they're thinking Game Pass can compete with. And when you're talking about the potential of that many paying subscribers, then it is sustainable, and they are on their way. And they're growing at a rate of about 1 million a month. And this is without releasing any sort of AAA games. Imagine if they're able to sort of work out this Uplay thing. And I think that will happen, especially after you saw EA's quarterly results, where they said that EA Play is now at 13 million users because it was buoyed by the partnership with Game Pass, right? So I think you'll see EA Play come in there. And even then, I think that those are only stopgaps until Microsoft can get all its 23 studios and 35 teams moving like clockwork and releasing 3 and 4 sort of AAA high quality games a year, keeping excitement around the service. So I absolutely think it's sustainable. And for teams like the Bloober team, like smaller and mid-level teams, I think that the key there is to keep developers like that coming there. If Game Pass can be known as the sort of indie darling in the same way the Switch is, I think that then coupled with their 3 or 4 high profile releases a year, I think sky is the limit for Game Pass. So I'm very bullish, and I think that it's going to be a big deal. But I have more to say, but let's hear what's yeah.
No, it's all good. No, it's all good. No, it's all good. It's all good, man. Once again, this is something that we've talked about for since the inception of Game Pass. That's been the big elephant in the room. Essentially, is it sustainable? What is it going to look like years from now? So let's go ahead and actually mix things up. We're going to actually start with you, Pong. Not start with you, but we'll roll with you next as well, Pong. So just get your opinion on the success of the medium and what that means for Game Pass going forward.
Well, Everborn stole all my show notes, obviously. so he's covered all the points.
I'm cheating his test.
Great points, Everborn. Obviously, we are the same mindset. I think this argument about Game Pass being sustainable should have been dead and should never be brought up again, and it should have happened a long time ago. Microsoft would not have entered into this. You would not have the backing of Satya from a nearly $2 trillion company unless they've seen the numbers internally and they know where they have to get to hit. And they know it's sustainable, right? They would not be investing the way they are if it was something that was just going to be, if they were just going to throw away money, right? So the point being is that this is sustainable. Every new game that comes out where we see numbers like this is going to prove it further and further. And a team like Bloober, so let's focus on Bloober since Everborn did a great job of covering Game Pass and what it kind of means as far as a sustainability standpoint to Microsoft. The Bloober team itself is a perfect example of why Game Pass should and needs to exist, right? They have a bigger audience than they probably ever would have gotten just making this a regular release, right? Straight out the gates, they have the audience built into Game Pass that see their game and say, hey, what's this? There's a lot of people who probably never would have given this game a chance if it wasn't for Game Pass, right? So they're going to see an increase in sales alone. Let's not count whatever deal they have with Microsoft for putting it into Game Pass, which we know it can be different for each individual game. But the point of fact is that they have all these people playing their game that may never have touched it before. A lot of people nowadays with Game Pass being a monthly subscription, they're not buying new games, straight away. They don't have to put that money up front. So when they see a game, and I do this personally, I know plenty of people who do this, when they see a game that they enjoy, a lot of times you'll just make that purchase just to support the devs. Even though you're supporting them through Game Pass, you're going to make that extra purchase. So for the Bloober team, this I believe was another step towards an acquisition by Microsoft. It was another test to see what they could do, right? And so when they get it into Game Pass and it has the success that it does, this shows Microsoft that there is a desire for these types of games and this team itself, right? This team is an ascending development team. Every game that they've done has been better and better and better. Not only that, as Everborn put out there, it's a smaller team. This smaller team is nimble. Yes, they're going to grow and they are moving towards a full AAA type of release. But because they are such a tight-knit group, because they've worked together so long, sometimes you don't have to bring as many people in, depending on the size of the scope of the game that you're trying to make, right? So they can be efficient still, even if they do grow somewhat. And this team, just think about this: 2016, Layers of Fear; 2017, Observer; 2019, they put out both Layers of Fear 2 and Blair Witch, and then 2021 was The Medium. So this is a team that can quickly turn around and put out a quality game. Now, whether or not they can continue to do that if they move to a AAA production remains to be seen. But Microsoft now knows that they have a team that they trust, a team that they've developed a relationship with, that they know they can turn around and get games out relatively quickly and get those games in the Game Pass, which is exactly what they're looking for, right? Content. That's exactly what they're going to be looking for. And again, the numbers driving this are going to be the people that are playing it, the engagement numbers, right? So it's content and engagement. That's the new metric that Microsoft specifically, in a lot of places like Netflix, et cetera, are using now when it comes to these subscription-based services. So this is another team they can add to the stable. I believe that this was probably the final test to see what they could do and to see what kind of success they could have. And I think Microsoft is going to put a ring on it and actually bring these guys into the fold. So that's where my focus was, I guess. Again, Everborn did a great job covering the rest of it, but the Bloober team specifically, this is a huge success. This shows other developers as well when they look, because again, the development community is a very tight-knit group, especially when it comes to the smaller guys. They see this success. The more successes like this, the more people are going to want to start knocking on Microsoft's door saying, hey, how can we get in on this Game Pass thing?
Good point.
I think it's beautiful.
Absolutely. And once again, shout out to Bloober. We don't want to understate, because the medium, we want to give them all the success. A very small team created a fantastic game.
Yep.
Obviously we can talk about some of the particulars, but they did a phenomenal job with a very, very small team. So kudos to everything that they've done. So I agree with you full board there. So we'll throw this over to you, Stag. Just get your opinion. I mean, I know how you feel about the Game Pass thing. You've always said that you don't, that's a silly ass idea, that it's not sustainable. And I fully agree with Pong as well. Where you saying, Jim, just the investing the amount of money that they have, you don't spend $7.5 billion. They can, that's money they can, essentially throw away, but you don't invest that kind of money just for a trial. Is this thing kind of gonna work? No, they've seen the numbers, they know where things are going. So, but go ahead, Stag. I don't want to take up too much time. But I
don't have too much to say that hasn't been covered here. The one thing I do want to say though is, if Sony would have come out with Game Pass style service first, it would have been the best fucking thing ever. If they would have started putting their games in day one, these guys would be hyping it up and they would be enjoying it and they would be paying for it. I just think that, and it would be the best thing since sliced bread, but it's that whole console war bullshit that it can't be sustainable because people don't like renting their games. And well, it's not renting. I mean, try going to a Blockbuster. I don't know how many people in the audience ever actually went to a Blockbuster and couldn't get the game or movie they wanted. It never happens in Game Pass. That game's in there. If you want to play it, it's in Game Pass. Day one, every fucking Microsoft title is going to be in there going forward, and those are going to stay in. Sure, some third-party stuff's going to come out, but as day ones, man, that value is only going to increase when those day ones start rolling in.
Absolutely.
And I firmly believe if Sony would have done what Xbox is doing, like Game Pass, granted, they do have a similar service, but if they were putting in day one games, we wouldn't be having the same goddamn conversation we're having about this right now. You know what I mean? It would have been like, when's Microsoft going to do that?
Hey, Stag, can I add just a quick point to that? Because I agree with everything you just said. Well, firstly, I would like to ask a question. What is worse, fake financial experts or fake tech experts that we see talking about these things?
Yes.
Right?
That's the answer. Yes.
Exactly. Right. But more seriously, you're not seeing Sony do this yet because they can't afford to do it. And I'm not saying, and I mean that, what I mean by that is to say Sony's games have sometimes several $100 million production budgets, right? $100 million production budget.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And for them, it is all about the sort of big bang day one releases and getting those sales, right? And that's why they only have, I think, 2 or 3 million people in PlayStation Now, right? So for them, they couldn't afford to do that. I think that, like many other things, be it just gaming online in general or achievements or whatever it is, they are going to let Microsoft essentially define what this new market is, get people's minds wrapped around paying for a subscription service. And one, also, just a side note, that argument that I don't like renting games might be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, because you can literally buy every game that's in Game Pass at a discount.
Fucking discount.
So, right. So, but that in itself is ridiculous. But anyway, I think that they are going to watch Microsoft figure this out, because Microsoft
It wouldn't be
hasn't
the
actually.
first time they've watched Microsoft figure something out and then do something similar.
It wouldn't be the third time, right? Right, but and which is fine, right? Because like I said, Microsoft is on this sort of 10-year plan, right? So, and this is why people say, well, they need to release Bethesda games in order to, I don't know, whatever, right? But the reason I don't think that they will, at least not the ones that matter, right? I think Elder Scrolls Online and things like that will be
I think we've
cross-platform, right? And you know, they're not going to pull anything out of a store, right? I wish people would stop expecting Microsoft to give them console war ammo and just you know, step back and look at it as a whole. But I don't think things like Elder Scrolls proper and Starfield and Doom and whatever else, I don't think that those are coming to PlayStation, because they are spending that money in order to say, what does Xbox look like 5 years from now? That's when they're thinking about making back all this money, not like right now. I have to think about the next quarter. They're not worried about that.
Well,
right?
they made that money back anyway. We already.
Yeah, I mean, yes, but then again, the fake financial experts are going to say, well, you know, it wasn't all of Microsoft and whatever, but Microsoft bought Bethesda, not Xbox, right? Microsoft bought it because they are trying to build this business. I just got finished having my mind blown by WandaVision yesterday, right? Episode 5. Disney is not putting that on Netflix, right? Why would they? It's about that, you know, exclusive content. So again, I think that, I don't know. I'll go ahead. I'm done, because I'm going to go on a rant forever.
No, Stag, I don't know if you were finished. I didn't want to cut you off.
I'm just confused now. Okay. I'm kidding. What were we talking about? Oh, because I'm up here in chat having fun. You know me. No, dude, Game Pass is gonna change the industry. It's already starting to. I mean, I firmly believe that. So, I mean, and at some point, Sony's gonna do the same thing. Just like, remember, didn't Sony at one point say that they wouldn't put their games on PC?
Yes, I believe. I can't remember.
Or at least their fans saying it would never happen.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was an executive. It could have been just somebody talking.
Yeah, it might have just been one of them twits, you know. But
yeah,
that's fine. It was probably J-Dub or something. But
I mean, they also said like generations matter, right? And that I remember my point now, because I was rambling before.
Oh, you go ahead, ramble, dude. I feel like I said what I needed to.
No, but I think that you will see Sony do this after the market is defined and our minds as consumers have sort of been wrapped around paying for a monthly subscription service, and then like clockwork, you'll see that their numbers will shoot up, maybe even at a faster rate than Game Pass, but Game Pass will probably be too far gone for them to catch up. I don't know. Like, that's crystal ball stuff, but I just don't think Sony can spend that money right now. I don't think they can make that kind of capital investment just to put it in and wait for the subscription service to grow, right? Microsoft got people's minds wrapped around paying for Xbox Live, right? Sony didn't do that at first, but then they saw, oh shit, that's a lot of revenue they're making. We gonna have to do PlayStation Plus. And
Sony is not going to leave money out there that can be made. They will not do it, and they will make you pay for stuff.
And they are happy to let Microsoft take all the heat and the risk. So they knew forever that Horizon and Miles Morales were going to come to PS4 as well. They said we believe in generations only because they saw the backlash that Microsoft was getting for saying we're going to support the Xbox One for 2 years. And they saw that held back argument and they were like, we could use this. This is how you trade your games, right? And they used that and said, we believe in generations. And then they didn't say anything, and they just let, all the news outlets and the, us who are in this community talk about it and just ran with it. And then at the last minute in a blog post, they did it. So I think you're randomly going to see Sony turn PS Now into a day and date service like Game Pass after everyone has signed on to Game Pass and is used to it. And everyone is going to pretend like they invented it and it's the greatest thing.
Oh, Chris Hart's going to be like, oh my God, PlayStation, they got this new Game Pass thing. It's so amazing.
And guess who else is going to be smiling? Microsoft is going to be smiling all the way to the bank because Sony's going to be using their Azure cloud for it all. They already signed the deal. So as soon as that
by the way, you're giving us money, dumbasses.
Yep, exactly.
Keep prepping for that fucking platform while you're giving money to the other one.
Let's go ahead and get this over to Fuzz and Centurion so we can wrap this thing up. But go ahead and Fuzz, we're going to throw this to you, then we're going to get to Centurion.
Oh, as far as like with the medium and everything, I mean, for the most part, it's great for Bloober team to be able to recoup their funding as fast as they have. That's an open invitation to a lot of smaller devs that are out there. It shows that there is room for smaller devs to not have to go to things like Kickstarter or have to do so many pitch elevator pitch deals to get their games funded or to remortgage their house type of thing. So you have that as an option. It's open to a lot more of the smaller devs. When it comes to the bigger devs, they look at EA as far as their quarterly report, how it's helped their financials. And we know EA loves money. I mean, just look at how they just, rehash the same games over and over and over again and just put a new, year listing on it. So for anyone that thinks that Game Pass is not sustainable, I mean, you'd have to look at the writing on the wall. I mean, Mixer, they got rid of real quick after spending a ton of money on Ninja and a few other things.
For one thing,
but
that was a tech behind Mixer.
They didn't want Mixer for the platform. They wanted the tech.
Yeah. But when you look at Game Pass, they're still putting money into it. They're still on the lookout for buying more studios and things like that. So after the ink is dried, after ZeniMax, they're probably going to announce another one that's maybe not as big, but probably pretty close to it. So overall, the whole thing for Bluebird and their quick success or quick turnaround on that, it's great. I mean, once again, for everybody that talks about renting games, I know we've mentioned that, you can buy the games at a discount. Like I think I pre-ordered it instead of paying the $50, I think I paid $45 for it or whatever. And I figure any game that's not first party, it has a chance of leaving. Now, do they have a chance of being acquired by Microsoft? Sure. But I figure just based on like the trailers and things like that leading up to the game, it was interesting enough for me to, spend the $45 on it. So I'm pretty happy with it. Finished it. I think I'm missing 2 achievements on it because I didn't explore every square inch of the entire grounds. But I mean, it's a very interesting story, and with them recouping their funding, hopefully that means we'll see a sequel in another couple of years. So that's pretty much all I have on it because everybody else is pretty much knocked it out of the park with all the other topic or the points on that topic. So.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and get this over to Centurion, and we'll wrap this up and move on to the next topic, man. Keep this thing going.
All day.
Man, what can be said that has not been said? This conversation has been all over the place, and I'll be truthful. I haven't been able to really put much time into the medium. I still have to sit down. I know this is a game that I'm going to want to sink a lot of time in, so I'm just trying to find that right moment to start it up. But a lot can be said for making your money back that quick. It definitely shows interest in your product as a developer. Definitely highlights Game Pass for sure. Even everybody trying to talk trash about it, even when you're talking about it, you're doing marketing, just to warn you. Man, I like Fuzzy described it. It's not Game Pass is not a one size fits all kind of product for developers. It's based on what you need at the time. And I like the concept of the fact that these developers, think about it like you have a really good game idea, something that is going to knock the industry out of the park, kind of like Game Pass, because Game Pass is becoming kind of like the industry standard. It's not setting a standard, it is becoming the standard because everybody talks about it. But imagine having a really good game, something you know is going to change everything and it's going to make you a lot of money, but you don't have a dime in your pocket, and you have this other game idea that you could fuel through Game Pass, and this will get the money in your pocket to create the game you want to. It's basically a stepping stone. And I really see we're going to see some really good developers rise out of Game Pass, and we're going to see some really awesome games. And even some of these games are going to kind of push the boundaries of what's possible with gaming. And especially in the next couple years when we fully embrace these NVMe style hard drives and these developers really starting to fully explore the abilities of these new consoles, I can only imagine some of the content that will be put in Game Pass.
Yeah, it's gonna be a sweet ride. It's gonna be a fun ride. So we're gonna be on this train for a long time. So buckle up, everybody. Game Pass is not going anywhere anytime soon.
And on top of that, like, let's just be real here. When PlayStation finally comes around, I know I'm gonna be one person on that service.
Hell yeah, absolutely.
Hashtag me too.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, let's not act like we're gonna sit here and not be the people that aren't gonna be on that as well. Because and I've been playing both my systems a lot, actually all three lately. So
And
that's the crazy thing about the sort of console war stuff that is really weird to me. Like, if you like Xbox or you like PlayStation, you're not in a secret club. I can go to the same store and buy the same game. Like, what are we doing here?
Wait a minute, I learned this handshake for nothing. So, but here's a good example for like a business person that that would probably see it from this point of view. Right now, I invest a lot of money on my Xbox. I'm constantly on the marketplace buying games because I think I need to play everything. My PlayStation is kind of primarily used for exclusives. So that means there's times where PlayStation will go months before they see even a dime out of me. Now, imagine having a service that's like, well, we can get him to pay X amount for a year or, X amount for a month. And it's basically money they can count on whether or not I'm using the ecosystem or not.
No.
Huh?
No, go ahead.
Stop making sense.
It's kind of like the idea of a gym membership. You're not going every single damn day. Some people, you get full advantage out of your gym membership, going every single day, taking full advantage of the amenities. There's other people that go like a couple times a month, and they're honestly not getting the full potential out of their membership. So that's actually money in the gym's pocket.
Absolutely. So let's keep this thing going, man. I got a couple other things we want to touch on here. So one in particular, because we're one of the few podcasts that do bring up Nintendo. I don't see a lot of podcasts talk much about Nintendo. I make sure when I see something that I want to talk about specifically Nintendo related, we definitely get it done here. So I saw a tweet from Nintendo, and I was like, it kind of took me aback because it kind of made me realize like this is Nintendo actually has this issue. And nobody really talks about it. So they put out a tweet basically saying they're finally replacing their NEX multiplayer server system after 18 years. Think about this. 18 years, they're finally replacing their server system. Now, we all know that. I'm going to get to you, everyone. We got to talk because nobody brings this up or talks about it. Now, I understand Nintendo is in their own lane. They do their own thing, but this is the same company that back in 2013 said, we're finally taking the internet seriously. We're finally taking online gaming seriously.
We're upgrading from hamsters to guinea pigs.
Exactly. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, so this is a call to Nintendo fans. I need you to show up and explain to me, is this okay to you guys? Are you guys okay with this? Because if this was Sony and or Xbox, there'd be a lot more talk about why the hell are they still using this old ass equipment, these old servers, in this new updated world we live in. We're gonna start with you, Everborn. I mean, we ain't got to drag it out, but
we're not gonna drag it out. But let me ask you a question: Is another Zelda still coming out?
Come on, man. Yes,
is
I'm
is
sure it
another
is
Mario still coming out.
It-
They
I'm
Gonna be
know
Mario Kart 47,
they don't mind.
dude. Come on now.
Yeah, and that's your answer right there. They just upgraded to the 56K modem, so they good, and we're gonna take it and we are gonna like it. Unfortunately, right? Nintendo is going to do what Nintendo does, and you are gonna shut up and you are gonna hope that they give you a new Metroid game, and that's it.
You're just
Let's
holding
just-
you guys all
let's-
hostage for that Metroid game.
Let's just call a strike a strike. There's nothing we can do about it, and Nintendo does not care, because as soon as they put out Breath of the Wild 2 or another Smash Brothers or another Mario Kart 9 to do another 30 million, we're gonna shut up and we're gonna buy it, and we're gonna complain about
and
it.
it'll go on sale for 58.
Exactly. It'll go on sale for 58 3 years later.
Yeah.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, and that's Black Friday, by the way. That's Black Friday.
Right. So
Yeah.
let's keep it what it is. And the reason you don't hear people talking about it, because Nintendo might hit you with a DCMA. So be careful. But that's it. That's all I got.
Oh, go ahead, Pong. It's on you. Man. We throwing this over to you, Pong. Where you at on this, man? I mean, it is what it. I'm not shown to, but before you say anything, Pong, I'm not letting you get away with that, shown to. I don't care if you don't buy Nintendo to play online gaming. All right, I don't care about that. No, you're not getting away with that excuse, because if that had been Xbox or Sony instead of Nintendo, you would not be saying that. You like, what the hell is like? What are you talking about? Where's my money going? Go ahead, Pong.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they say they found Windows 98 code?
Oh, come on.
In this online? I'm serious. Somebody said there's some Windows 98 code in there. Okay. Let's just forget about the online aspect. Let's talk about the security aspect. How have these people not been hacked? Sony's been hacked. Microsoft's been hacked. Like, people would be outraged.
You want to know how they haven't been hacked? It's the same reason Sears never got hacked. They're running such an old system. Nobody knows what to do.
I was just gonna say that. These hackers don't know COBOL, man.
Sears was using from 30 years ago.
I have to go buy an Apple II to hack Nintendo.
You have to get a 56K modem just to connect. I understand. But I mean, just from a security aspect, in 2021, are we literally okay that a company as big as Nintendo, with the information of millions of people, are running this old of a system, right? This is absolutely insane. And yes, as everybody's already said, Nintendo does their thing. They don't care. They don't listen to anybody say anything. None of their fans say anything ever. They just take it and they sit back and they just wait for the Metroids. They wait for the Zeldas. They wait for everything. Any little speck of, any kind of information about the games. They don't look at the rest of it. I'm glad they're finally doing it. Congratulations, Nintendo. Maybe they'll upgrade to, something, 2012. I don't know. Maybe
the DSL modem.
Yeah, maybe might go to satellite. I don't know. But for a company that did come out and say they were committed to the online play, this is just crazy to me. Obviously, it's never been a big part of their business, and I don't know if it ever will be. However, there are signs, obviously, with the new Monster Hunter Rise, that could have had something to do with this. Apex Legends is now going to be on Switch. So maybe they finally hit that limit of that 56K, and they finally said, fine. Here's $1,000. Please upgrade our system. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there, but good news is that they're doing something.
Yeah. All right. Let's throw this over. We'll go with you, Centurion. I mean, you're a tech guy. You're pretty knowledgeable regarding tech, Centurion. So I mean, this is, and listen, people. This is not it is dogpiling Nintendo. I'm not gonna lie, but it's constructive criticism, because, like I said before, this is a digital world. Like that technology is going, and for a company that doesn't have, a company that sells literally, what did Animal Crossing sell? Like 50 million copies or something crazy like that.
Like a billion. What are you talking about?
Like, come on, like, really? Is this what you got? Anyway, go ahead, Centurion. Go ahead.
Well, when this whole thing came to mind, I'm like, what came to mind was we've got Microsoft over here doing cloud streaming and, pushing the envelope and putting servers down in the bottom of the ocean. And we've got PlayStation, you know, with motion capture animation and bionic wigs and exploring the idea of making cars. And then there's Nintendo just starting to embrace the internet. Don't really know how to feel about that. I've always kind of chuckled at my Switch, I will say, is probably one of the most unused consoles. I have all these games I really need to play on this thing, and I have to laugh that I guess to have friends on this thing, you got to have some kind of Nintendo social security number that you give people.
You have to have a barcode.
Yeah, and then you got to have like the He-Man woman haters, like the Coder Ring going on over here trying to get this thing to open. I mean, dude, I saw what was involved for online play for Nintendo, and I'm just like, who thought this was a good idea? You know, we're over here worried that people can't tell the difference between an Xbox S and an Xbox Series X and an Xbox Series S. And like just looking at what is involved for Nintendo online play kind of makes you chuckle.
Dude, it's ridiculous.
I'll just say though, Nintendo's always been a little bit behind, and I'm not saying that to knock the company. That's actually been something in their favor. When all these console companies, Xbox, PlayStation, were building consoles at a loss or breaking even to go for, you know, high definition graphics with HDMI cables. We had the Wii coming in with I think like a composite or something like that. They were always like a step behind.
The red, yellow, and white cords.
Yeah, well, yeah, for real. And that's where, so they've always been a little bit step behind, but they're also one of those game companies that actually does make for profit. Basically, they don't have this huge cushion.
They're debt free. I think they're debt free, to be honest with you.
Yes, that Nintendo is Nintendo. They're very heavily reliant on everything that Switch and everything that comes out of Nintendo does for them. Versus, like, look at PlayStation. They're owned by Sony. Technically, they make up a big portion of Sony. They're a big crutch for Sony, but they don't make up the entire company. And Xbox is honestly a small, minute portion of Microsoft. So you're definitely going to see a difference in how the brand is handled compared to Nintendo. And Nintendo has always been tried to be debt-free, profitable. Our games are literally made of gold and we never put them on sale. You know, stuff like that. I only get to buy Nintendo games one time a year, and that's like around Black Friday.
Yeah, it's you got to wait for the income taxes to come in. For Nintendo, it's ridiculous.
You know, when they came out with the cartridge idea, you know, I'm pretty sure it was like this in the boardroom. We're like, man, you know what? We already treat our games like they're already made of gold. Let's bring back cartridges. Yeah,
ridiculous. They might as well. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Put them on a UMD.
Go ahead, Fuzz. It's on you, and then we'll get the stag.
Hey, but one thing though, I know the next time I go to Japan, I'm going to Nintendo World. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay. Hey, look. My favorite game of all time is Ocarina of Time. So I'm talking because I want Nintendo to, it's more of my need.
Nintendo to be relevant.
Yeah, well, no, they are.
He's gonna get to the gates, and they're gonna stop him, and they're gonna like pull him over to the side, and then they're gonna like bring up this podcast right here. They're gonna be like, "Can we talk about this podcast before you come in?"
No, listen, I'm trying to get the Everborn game on the Switch, so I don't want to talk too high.
You're looking at a permaban.
I was gonna say. You got to use an alt account, man. Come on, now.
Hey, they're gonna be like, hey, remember when Microsoft came in here and wanted to buy the place? What was our initial reaction on that?
Right. No, but that's it. Like they came in there, and Sony and Microsoft are doing these cutting edge boxes, and everybody's looking at Nintendo like, you're not gonna do this, and they said, ha, watch this. I'm gonna put another Mario on you, and we're gonna
sell you cardboard. So
exactly. Yo, they can sell you cardboard.
The Nintendo Switch VR cardboard set was the most insane thing. I was like, you really want to strap that thing to your face?
But I respected that though. I respected it. I was like, yo, they out here selling cardboard. Nintendo can sell water to a whale and ice in hell. They are a bigger hustlers than Jay-Z. But
look at the Lego set that they have now too. The Mario Lego thing.
You have to respect the gangster.
Yeah.
Do you guys see South Park, how they do that play on Mickey Mouse, how Mickey Mouse is really a thug?
Yeah.
I think Mario is there with him. I think Mario is right next to Mickey Mouse, just like kicking ass and taking names. Like Nintendo does not play around in these streets.
They don't.
That moment in Halo 4 when Master Chief was like hunched over thinking about stuff, that was just because Mario just came in and slapped him around.
Go ahead, Fuzz. It's on you, man. We're gonna get to stagger.
Well, I'm glad they are at least upgrading now. Finally, I mean, they also probably need to do something about party chat, because I think last time I checked, aren't you supposed to use your cell phone or something?
Yeah, you got to use your cell phone to chat.
I mean, at least it's a step up from Dixie cups and strings, but you know, they just Nintendo's going to do what they want to do, and we're going to continue to buy their games because their nostalgia has got us all kind of hooked on that stuff. So you can't fault them on it, other than eventually at some point they're finally going to have to upgrade and look for their games to go up $10-20 a game. So bye sales. Let's see the price hike on Nintendo games come here soon after the internet upgrade. But
price hike coming to you soon.
Hey, Fuzz, I think you just gave Nintendo a new idea for the best holiday sale. No, the string with the cup. They're gonna sell that. They're gonna put it out, and you're not gonna be able to find it in stores around Christmas. I promise you.
They'll attach a camera to it and say, "Hey, you can make video phone calls now." You got a great new idea.
They're gonna give you a camera that costs too much. They're gonna sell you a blank piece of paper and a piece of chalk, and then you could draw what you're looking at. And they're gonna tell you it's fun.
You call it creative.
Exactly.
You'll have like a Kirby sticker on one cup, a Yoshi sticker on the other. Yeah, it's gold.
Go ahead, Stag. It's on you, man. Before we wrap this thing up, man.
All I really have to say about Nintendo is I don't think most people use it for online play. I mean, granted, there is people that love their Smash Brothers and their Mario Karts. But, I mean, me personally, we have 2 Switches in the house, and my oldest will play Smash Brothers once in a while with his friends, but for the most part, and then talk on their iPhones, which we just discussed. But to me, it's a very personal experience. I don't really give a shit about them updating their online server, whatever the fucking hell you said. It means literally nothing to me. Like, I don't play Nintendo games to interact with other people. Sure, some people do, but I think the majority of Nintendo users, I could be wrong here. I don't have any numbers on it.
Company that gets away with saying that shit.
Yeah, but I honestly feel like their market is definitely geared towards individual style experiences. And like I said, I could be wrong, but that's the feeling I get. Most of their games are individual experiences. Sure, some of their big sellers like Smash Brothers isn't, but I feel like my sons play that couch co-op, not co-op, couch play, you know what I mean? Couch multiplayer more. Yeah. Like my oldest, like I said, he plays Smash Brothers with his friends, but I can't remember the last time they did it,
Yeah.
They'd rather play on the Xbox and play Warzone. Or not Warzone, Warframe, excuse me. Mm-hmm. I don't know how the hell they pulled that freaking 5-year game out of their ass and have been playing that, but no, I mean, I just like, great, good job stepping up your game a little bit, but I don't know. Is it a relevant move? Not to me, and I don't think it will be to a lot of gamers because, like I said, I just it just feels like it's a solo experience.
Yeah.
I use I use the Switch for games I can't play anywhere else but the Switch.
They're the Benjamin Button of video games.
And when I'm sitting in my car waiting for my kids at whatever function they're at, you know what I mean? Like, it's great for that. That's what I use my PSP for as well, So, yeah. I mean,
hey, Stag, I 100% agree with you. I don't think anybody looks at a Switch and it was like, I wish I could get on Twitch with this, right? Like, and the thing is, I think that is one of their selling points because their whole brand is like I know they have a lot of like uncensored games there now, but for the most part, when you think of the Switch, you think of it as something you could just give your kids. You don't got to worry about them being online, getting like harassed by people, because they'll never figure out how to get online with those codes. Right? But you know, you can give it to them and not even worry about it. And yes, when I play, I probably played the Switch the most in the previous generation. Because I'm making a game, I played like literally every 2D platformer that they put out, just like research or whatever. But right, but also like I play Nintendo IPs to feel like a kid again, and I feel like that they're so good at that they don't really have to. Like all jokes aside, they're terrible at it online, but they don't need to be good at it. As long as they keep getting creative and trying to find ways to reintroduce us to Mario, and if I get that sense of exploration with Zelda, like I'm good if they never like. Yeah.
And that's crazy. So it's crazy because that's a direct contrast. We sit in here not arguing, but you look on Twitter. There's so many people arguing about Xbox and Sony about every little thing that these two companies do, and you got this company on Nintendo that's just
over there just
off doing their own thing. Like, oh, you guys arguing about graphics? Shit, we can barely do 1080p.
Hey, Blam.
Yeah.
All right. So I see Nintendo doing two things. One, they're either going to start letting people text message each other on the Switch, or they're going to start allowing people. Remember back when cell phones had that cool button on the side and you could push it and it would beep and you could have it as a walkie-talkie?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe start doing that with the Switch.
Man, I don't know.
Basically bringing other outdated technology.
Nah, man. They're going to bring out carrier pigeons and SOS signal.
Smoke go out to your window. You got a little cage.
Mike Tyson's going to be pumped.
Let's keep this thing moving, man. So we're gonna be talking now. To be fair here with this particular topic, everyone, I'm starting with you. You already let me know you're not too well versed on this. It's not really your lane, but you know we just want to talk about just the idea. I want to talk a little bit about EA bringing back NCAA football. I don't know how many people are interested in this, but I don't play Madden at all. The reason I don't play Madden is because college football was so much better than Madden. At the time.
Like college football, the actual
the game.
The
game itself. The game. So up until obviously 2014, I thought the college football series from EA was far better than Madden. Madden was rinse and repeat. It is still. Once again, we can see. So I'm excited about this. I don't know how many of you guys actually want to talk about this, but this is something that I don't think EA would. I didn't even think that they would do. Now I'd like to see them bring other things back, maybe like Fight Night. You know, we can bring that up too, but I'll start with you on this one, Everborn. Just the idea that they're bringing this back, and I know we talked about like the students and are they going to be paying the students and how that's all going to work. But I just want to talk about them bringing the game back and the fact that this is something that is really important because you need new ideas for Madden. Like you got to do some Madden's just. I mean, the only reason Madden's
everybody still pays for Madden.
But that's what I'm saying. Do you need new ideas for Madden?
It's the only football game you can actually buy.
That's why you don't need no ideas for it.
You can buy friggin' some fucking shitty Canadian football games.
You can. You're absolutely right. But I mean, anybody. This could be a very quick topic. You don't have to dwell on this for too long.
I would like to say that as it relates to NCAA or Madden, I don't give what they call a flying 747 fuck. However, I would like to know if the students will be paid for their likeness being used. And I think that
any of their likenesses this time.
Oh, they're not.
My understanding is that they can't use any of the branding, or they would have to.
So wait, it's not going to be like real.
They've got access to the schools, uniforms, logos, the stadiums, and that's pretty much it. They don't have any access to any of the players. They can't make any likenesses. They can't use their names. They can't do anything.
Are they going to use the player's stats so that like you'll know that that's kind of the player, even though that they can't?
That's one of the big questions on the table. That's how they're going to pull this off.
They'll probably just make Alabama really good, you know.
Yeah, exactly. So here's the deal. What they've got to build. Okay, so if EA is going to do this right, and again, we don't know what the contract details are, but it's very doubtful that they could control how EA is going to actually implement, statistics and player creation within the game, right? That'd be very hard to regulate, right? Because that'd be basically controlling how the game's made. So you've got a built-in rabid fan base. Okay. NCAA, the last one made was 2014, right?
Yep.
Huge cult following already.
$100
right?
game used.
Correct. I was going to just say, Stag, I just sold a 360 copy that was scratched, but it still played, but it was scratched. It was not in great condition for $100 just 2 months ago. Okay. So they have a huge they just have a huge rabid fan base that still uses 2014, updates everything every single year. All they have to do is put this game out with the team uniforms, use a very high level player creation, right? And allow people to adjust stats, and they will have instantaneously, I can guarantee you within probably 2 days, maybe even under a day, they will have every single team created by somebody out there with players who look like the real players. Whether or not they allow to put names, customize the names, that's a big question. But if that's possible, that will happen. And this game will be complete. They just cannot screw up the dynasty in this game. If they come out and they half-ass the dynasty, they will have a extremely upset base. If they come out with a full-featured dynasty, which is all anybody cares about, or at least their most diehard fans care about, this game will fly off the shelves, guaranteed. It'll be easy.
It's going to fly off the shelves anyways, and it's just a matter of if it's going to keep flying off the shelves.
Correct, Stag. Yep.
I always wondered why they don't do these games like Madden and NCAA in this case, like sort of a free-to-play service where you pay for the stat updates or whatever it is.
People will buy a brand new game every year. That's why. If we stop doing it, and they
no, but I'm saying, I
talked about it a lot. We wish they just did roster updates every 2 years.
Right, but does Fortnite make more money than Madden, or is it the other way around? Right, I'm sure they can find enough stuff to sell to make it just be like a service as opposed to.
Do you got a 10-year-old or an 11-year-old in your house?
I do, but they're girls, so they don't.
They don't want all the Spider-Man, Master Chief.
I know, but my
comes out every goddamn day.
My nephew plays that like crazy. Like he would for Christmas, he was just like, I want like $300 in V-Bucks. I'm not even joking. Like he doesn't want anything. You could be like, I got $500, and he's like, is this US mint? No. I want V-Bucks.
Yep.
But that's neither here nor there. And then my brother messed around and bought him like the Xbox points instead of the V-Bucks, and he was very upset. But that's neither here nor there. But I do think that these sports games could do a Fortnite model and probably end up making more money.
Well, you can buy
and
those
have it
packs.
be everywhere.
So I mean, I know in like FIFA and Madden, they have those packs for the the Madden Ultimate Championship or whatever it is.
Yeah,
you buy packs, and then you get these players. And if I'm not wrong, they only work for you have it, but you have to like keep updating their contracts, and
yes,
that's how they get you if you want to do that stuff.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, so I don't know if anybody Fuzz and Tara, I don't know if you guys want to touch up on this at all. If you guys had an opinion, just go ahead and dive in, man.
I know with one of my sons, he would really love for them to have NCAA. We went and drove 2 hours to Jersey to get the old game for my PS3. That was what he wanted for Christmas. It was like there was only 2 game stops on the whole East Coast that had the game. So
moly.
I would like to see them make a new version. It would be great if they could use the likeness of the students and stuff, but then you got to figure out how the monetary stuff is going to work on that. If they just do it where it's the teams, the logos, the stadiums, and no likenesses, like everyone was saying earlier, there's going to be people that are going to create those teams. Like just like you can buy like not buy seasons, but you can download seasons and like 2K or even in Madden for that matter, where the roster is adjusted and stuff like that. Somebody will have, the current 2021, school season or 2022 school season in a matter of days ready for download. But it'd be nice if they went to a seasonable or season, setup. But I think it's good that they have this optional game, but unless there's some sort of like, character creator type of thing to some extent, or stat adjuster type of deal, I don't know how long this is going to last unless they upgrade a lot of the features that are found in like the regular Madden right now.
Okay. All right. I don't know, Centurion. I don't know if you wanted to touch on this or.
I'm kind of flying the same 747 as Everborn.
Okay. Hey, look, he co-pilot in that movie.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. So my only opinion is EA sees, definitely, that, it probably went down. The Disney executive walked in and said, "Hey, we don't want to re-sign that contract in 2023. We want Star Wars everywhere." So later, and he probably looked at somebody. He's like, "Oh, call the NCAA. We got to definitely figure out how to fill this hole."
I think they could just fill it if they put out Anthem 2.0.
Here we go. We're not going down that. We're not going down that road. We
just had to slide that in.
We need to get like a bell every time you hear the word Anthem on it. Ding!
I know, right? Tell me about it. But let's go ahead. That was a great topic once again, man. We're gonna go ahead and go with one more here. Shows run a little bit longer than normal, but we got one more topic to wrap things up. Oh, you got to leave. You got to.
No, they can wait. My kids can starve. Fuck them.
Hey, they've made it this long.
I mean, goddamn. One's 14 and the other one's 11. I haven't killed them yet. I think they'll be all right.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Y'all be all right with some PB&J.
They're all looking around. Do you know how to boil water? No.
But we're gonna go ahead and move on to this next topic here real quick. Let me get it pulled up. Just bear with me here, everybody. I'm bouncing around a little bit. All right, here we go. So last topic of the night, man. We're gonna talk a little bit about console shortages, really until the mid 2021. Now we know these consoles have been extremely hard to come by, for a lot of different reasons. Bots being the main reason that every time these companies restock, the bots just, in 2 seconds, the entire stock is gone and no actual person.
Hey, $1 billion idea, bots as a service. I'm just putting it out there.
Actually, you can rent bots. Actually, bots have been used in the sneaker industry for a very long.
For sneaker purchases.
Yeah, these bots are actually created by people who actually do this in the sneaker industry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then after they code it and they know it works, they will actually sell the code for that bot. Now the catch is you need to keep paying basically an update fee for the code on that, because the bot will eventually stop working because the retailers actually figure out that it's a bot and they'll actually nix it.
See, this is what I'm talking about. You got to take all of that like mixed up stuff out of it. I'm talking about you get an app on your iPhone or Android. They got your credit card number. Boom. They deploy a bot army when you want to buy something. You keep a limit per customer. It could be done.
There was actually a service out there like that.
Well, they don't use your credit card. The service is, at least that I can remember, is you sign up and you basically let them know what item you're wanting to get your hands on, and it will actually create a bot for that item, and it will actually, you give it your cell phone number, and the minute it actually becomes available, the bot will actually text you, so that way you can hurry up and get on the site and actually purchase it.
And there was different tiers for it too. And you could buy a higher level tier to get access quicker to the product.
Oh, nice. Okay. So in that vein, we'll start with you, Everborn. Just about we knew this was going to be something with the whole COVID situation. Supplies are going to be tight. We all kind of understood that before the new consoles even dropped. But as far as them being restocked, this is unusual. This is the first time this ever happened. Since I've been playing video games, as far as the climate that we're in, and a new console being released. So what do you think about that in general? I know we've been talking about bots and solutions to those problems, but how do you think, like, everything that they're learning in this period of time, Everborn, all the data they're collecting from having to drop consoles now, how do you think that's going to improve the system later on?
So here's the thing. I think we're looking at sort of a perfect storm of events right now. Why you can't find these things in stores, right? And you won't be able to find them maybe until towards the end of the year, right? Because one, you have this super sort of uptick in people being at home and gaming, and then you have like again, people, you know, seeing how much success they had, you know, using bots for other things, and seeing how thirsty we are as like rabid consumers, that we will create a market where if you can't buy it like from Walmart, then you're happy to pay $1,000 for it, you know, on eBay, right? And so with all of that, and then they release, and then, you know, you got a lot of people getting sort of stimulus money. I think that you may not see this sort of these stars aligned again anytime soon. So, but I also think that for them to solve this problem, they're gonna have to sort of get better at the basically out gaming the scalpers, right? I don't think it was a good thing that Xbox sort of tells you when they're going to be available, because I think I was able to secure a PS5 only because that, you know, that clusterfuck of a stealth drop happened by mistake, right? Because not everybody was looking at, if you weren't on Twitter and you didn't know that you could get a PS5 right after that event, then you probably don't have one yet, right? Because good luck trying to go to Walmart or Target and trying to get something to actually stay in your cart, or good luck going to Amazon and thinking they're not going to cancel your order. Like, you don't know that you got a PS5 until it shows up at your house, really, right? And another just point that, you know, they're saying that Sony did 4.5 million and Microsoft did 3.5 million, but they're both sold out. I guess a question I'd have for you, Blam, or anybody, is if Microsoft had 4.5 million consoles or 5 million available, do we think that they all would have sold?
Yes.
Or would we have seen some on shelves?
Nah, they'd all be gone because
I
everybody's
think they'd all be
clamoring.
going. Yeah, I think they'd be going.
Every
I don't
time
think
they get put up for sale, they're gone.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering what because like sort of when you think of like mind share and what people talk about, I think that like more people are like rabid for the PlayStation 5 at this moment. I don't think that will be the case forever. So I wonder at what point where do we think Microsoft will have more available on shelves faster than Sony will?
It's hard to. I know Fuzz, you've been kind of keeping an eye on that whole. So you may have some insight on that. I don't know.
I kind of thought that they would. I was under the impression, just because, like you said, there is more demand for the PS5. You know, considering the previous generation, and then as many of those trying to transfer over or transition over to the PS5 and stuff. I was under the impression that we would probably see more Xboxes on shelf, or Xboxes actually being stocked and on shelf come like late March, early April-ish, and then the PlayStation finally reaching that threshold sometime around June, July-ish. Like I figured there would be like at least like a 2 or 3 month gap in between, where if they were on their same production schedules and able to produce about the same amount, that, you know, maybe Xbox will be the one you could pick up in the store sooner than the PS5. Because honestly, I think the key number would be somewhere between 10 and 12 mil right now as far as for PS5. If there were that many out in the open, all of them would be sold. Anything above that, it would probably be a little slower to being sold, where you'd be able to find them on a shelf type of thing. And I'm thinking Xbox is somewhere probably between the 8 and 10 million range, but that's just based kind of off of the hardcore and those that are following the quote unquote trends as far as getting the new system. Because if you look at 100 and some odd million consoles of the PS4 sold, and everybody still speculates whether it's 40 mil, 50 mil, or 60 million Xbox Ones that sold. It's just one of those things where there is enough of
they've
demand
been
for
saying
them.
40 million for like the last 3 years.
Oh,
but
yeah.
that's neither here nor there. I don't think that number is 40 million.
No, me neither.
But again, I don't think people are optimistic about mid-year or like I think that they will be. I think demand will outstrip supply up until we get to the holiday season, and then we will be in the holiday season, and there will be another push. So I really don't think we're going to see these things like you'll just be able to walk into a store and buy a PlayStation or an Xbox until maybe next January. To like when you really think about it, like just because I think by the time they really get a hold on supply, that's when we'll be at holiday season, and then the demand will spike up. But the real culprit here is not Sony or Microsoft, it's AMD. Because they're all waiting on AMD to get them these chips. And I always wonder, why do they continually go with AMD? Why didn't Sony
NVIDIA?
or Microsoft? Yeah.
I think
What's
NVIDIA
that
was
about?
cost. I think for what they would want on an equivalent scale, NVIDIA was just a cost thing. Like the reason why Nintendo went NVIDIA is because it's kind of the mobile leftover chip or like an older chip in comparison that's a lot less costly. But to have something on par with what's in the consoles now from NVIDIA would probably, at least per chip, let's just say it's going to be somewhere in the $30 to $50 mark more, which would probably turn to being $100 to $200 more for the consumer.
And Microsoft was also working directly with AMD on DX12 Ultimate. So, obviously RDNA 2 is a big part of that. So obviously they already had a strong partnership. So just
true. It's a good point. I was going to get it to, go ahead, Fuzz.
I was going to say, look at NVIDIA still having trouble with their 30 series cards. So even if they went with NVIDIA, I think we would probably be looking at the same type of problem, maybe even worse, let's say.
That's because Bitcoin mining is back, baby.
So we're gonna throw this to you, Pong. We're gonna get everybody's opinion before we wrap this thing up. But go ahead, Pong. Just your opinion on as far as the shortage, and where we're gonna see that turn around.
Right. It's been kind of fascinating to me because I'm looking at the numbers that they're reporting, and they're both on par with last generation, right? PS5's on the same pace that PS4 was. And, Xbox is on pace, maybe even might be a little bit ahead of Xbox One, although they had really strong sales to begin. But that's fascinating to me that we have this shortage. That just shows you how many people are looking right now. And obviously I feel for all the people that can't find one right now. And obviously the bots are a problem. That seems to have cropped up even more so than usual at this point. But we're calling it a shortage. But the fact is these machines are on the same pace. I think demand is so high. Yeah, I don't care right now at this point. I don't know what the magic number would be where demand, the demand would drop off. But I think for both consoles, as much as they could produce, it would be gone. I think this is, even with the big sales, I think it's a little disappointing to both companies. Obviously, I think both have approached AMD. Obviously, it sounds like Microsoft may have had some more serious talks with AMD about somehow getting this increase. And obviously they got bad news because it was originally, they came out and said, they thought April they would catch up. And now it's been pushed to July?
Yeah, somewhere late summer,
something like that. And now some people are saying maybe not till fall. So, late fall. So I think that just shows the strength right now of the industry. Hopefully they don't, miss the peak if the pandemic gets over with, but I don't think that's going to happen either. But for all the companies and devs that are, making all these next gen games that we're going to start seeing, especially come towards the end of this year and definitely into next year, I know they got their fingers crossed, because if they're all switching over to next gen only, and putting some big AAA titles together, they're going to really hope that supply catches up.
Yeah, that's I was just about to comment about that. If the demand is neck and neck right now or close to it, meaning if you make a box, you're selling it, right?
Yep.
Right. They did that, and all they released was the medium, and
right.
No shade at the medium, right? But
That's not
Like,
quite
ima-
Halo Infinite. It's
Yeah,
not
no.
quite-
Exactly. Like,
Exactly.
imagine when things like that start to drop, right? And then it's just every 3 months you have an Avowed or a Fable or a Starfield or whatever, all the other studios they're acquiring. What happens then to the demand of the Xbox?
Right. Correct.
It's kind of scary to think about.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I got two of them.
Right. And not even talking about, the Game Pass is still growing at $1 million per month, right? And they don't even have anything AAA that's dropped in there yet, day one. So just imagine how Game Pass has the potential to shoot through the roof if they can get these games out and the systems are in people's hands. That's the magic. And obviously, I don't think this is going to last forever. I think, we're coming to the point where it eventually will this year catch up. But at what point does that happen? And come holiday shopping season, is there going to be enough in the stores for everybody to get?
Holiday shopping season and Halo Infinite will be
Yes,
out.
correct. Which coincide with each other this year.
Yeah.
Since it's going to be November, everybody's going to be out looking to spend money, and the systems have to be there. I mean, they have to. Whatever they got to do, they better get it done. So,
All right. Well, let's throw this to Stag. Just get your opinion, and we'll move on to Centurion, and we're gonna wrap this thing up. But go ahead, Stag.
I mean, I secured an X, and I just secured an S the other day in the Walmart thing. I mean, I'm happy, but yeah, I'm not gonna have that S for a month. But at least they charged my card, and I got the confirmation email. So there's that. I can't be too loud about it because I don't want my kid to hear because it's for him. But man, I've said it before, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Both systems should have waited till fall of 2021. Launch.
You did say that. You were on that deal for a while. You were on that deal.
And been properly stocked and prepared, had enough consoles to meet most of the demand, and also had some fucking games for both of them. So
okay,
that's where I'm at. It sucks that the bots are snatching them up, and I wish there was a way that both companies would circumvent that. There's prime example of something they could do was said in chat. Like, they have our email addresses. Granted, they don't have people that haven't been in their ecosystem yet, but they could have contacted us. I mean, Sony tried. They did that whole sign up early with your existing account. That didn't work for me. But there's got to be a way to get around these bots that works for consumers. That doesn't help scalpers. I mean, scalping only makes sense for sporting events and concerts, because at some point there's going to be a mass amount of these consoles, and you're not going to be able to charge more for them anymore. Concerts happen one night, 2 nights. So it makes sense to buy 10 extra tickets and stand outside and sell them for $200, $300 over what they cost.
No, absolutely.
You're just playing on people's, that I said it in chat, fucking fear of missing out.
No, I agree with you 100%.
I wish they would have waited till fall holiday season 2021, especially since we're in a pandemic. So it's got to be even harder to produce what they need for these things. So I just think that we could have waited. As consumers and as companies, they could have waited. There is I've had a Series X for 2 months now. All I've done is set it up and import my account. I actually haven't played a game on it yet. I am still playing on my One X. I mean, and having a blast. I am still playing on my PS4 Pro. Having a blast. There is nothing wrong with the graphics of those two consoles. Nothing.
Stag, as somebody who came from the Xbox VCR, because I don't believe in mid-gen refreshes, I politely disagree with you.
I said my One X.
Yeah, I know. I know you did. I'm just saying I was coming from a VCR.
I'm sorry you were still on an OG Xbox One. I mean, my youngest son is too, and I'll tell you what, I hear about it every fucking day.
I'm glad they came out with the Series X when they did.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying, for numbers-wise, production-wise, and what
I get what you're saying.
Consumers want, they should have waited till 2021 when they had enough numbers during a pandemic. They had consoles for it, more than just what is available now and who's got them and the clamoring. I mean, granted, it does create all that mind speaker share or whatever the fuck you want to call it. If people want to, like you guys out there, us that have them, are like, oh, it's so amazing on either side, the PS5 or the Series X or the S. Like, it's awesome. You got to get one. So it's building up that, that hype for them for sure. But is it really going to matter that much? I mean, they're going to sell anyways. They would have sold what they're going to sell now if they would have waited a year, in my opinion. And they would have had more games at launch for both consoles because developers would have had those dev kits in their hands even longer.
You know what? I think the issue with that, though, is I think they were both so afraid of the other one.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because it would have been like a game of chicken, and they're like, okay.
It was.
We've talked before about how like we feel like Sony reacted to Xbox announcing.
Yeah, and it was like, no, we're both gonna go jump off the thing together, and then one steps over, and the other one's like, yeah. Now that I think about it, I'm just gonna go ahead and release, right? and we saw what happened when the 360 launched a year before the PS3. Like none of them wants to be the PS3, right? So they kind of had to sort of preemptively get one over on the competition. So I just think it was a matter. I think if they could have delayed it, they would have. That's why Halo got delayed, right? Because it just wasn't ready. But the console, they just couldn't afford to. Imagine if PlayStation 5 was selling for a full year before the Series X came out. It would have been dead.
You think the console wars are bad now?
Oh man, tell me about it. But let's get this to Centurion. Go ahead, Centurion. We're gonna wrap this up after you, brother.
Man, lots listening to what everybody has to say. So I guess on to we'll start with Stag. The idea of probably stopping the launch of the Series X and the Series X, was out of the question.
I'm not saying they should have stopped. I'm just saying they should have waited.
There'd been no way to really.
The original plan of both consoles to launch in 2021. That's been my whole thing the entire time. But go on.
We all saw they couldn't stop Taco Bell from advertising Halo Infinite. Some things are set up so far in advance that you can't really stop it from happening. So that's where it's kind of interesting. I actually am involved in manufacturing. I deal with manufactured products, and it's a very interesting situation right now. With game consoles, you have to take all these components that are manufactured and they all have to come together at once to form a game console. And we all know that AMD's had issues, but we also don't know about the other internal struggles with the other manufacturers of the components. And a big problem that I'm running into is we'll just say before the pandemic, a normal one of my products took about 8 to 10 weeks to manufacture. Now I'm talking to people about 33 weeks. And to kind of break it down, for starters, social distancing does not mean stay 6 feet away from each other in public and everything just as it goes on as normal. That means that federally regulated businesses, no matter what country you're in, you have rules and standards you have to follow for manufacturing procedure. And right now, my manufacturers are not allowed to tool up past 30% because they can't have enough people on the floor to safely run the factory above 30%. So
before you continue, Stag has to head out. Stag has to head out.
Where they can find me. Thanks for having me tonight. You guys have a great rest of the show.
See you later, Stag.
Later, guys.
Nice talking to you, brother.
Yeah, same here, everyone. Take care, everybody.
All right, Stag, later.
No, I wasn't trying to drown on. It's just there's a lot of problems right now with manufacturing of products. Another problem is that idea of the workforce being limited. Right now, I have a distributor that has their product literally stuck out in the middle of the ocean. They got cargo container ships sitting out in the middle of the ocean outside of LA right now because the dock workers in LA cannot unload these cargo containers quick enough. So literally the ocean is turning into a parking lot waiting for their turn to go into the dock and unload their cargo. And then there's the rules, like the average cargo spends about 2-3 months in customs. So there's a bunch and bunch of problems that are ahead for people when it comes to the stocking of any product. I've honestly thought about it. If any game console breaks right now, if I wanted to go and get an OG VCR Xbox, it'd be even hard to find one of those. You'd have to probably find it privately. You ain't walking into GameStop or somewhere and finding in like, you know, a refurbished console or whatever you want to call it. Definitely, I really hope that things start smoothing out towards the middle of the year, but I don't really see like us walking in and like there's going to be, you know, a console in every store for whoever needs them until probably, I'm hoping, into the year, beginning of next year, worst case scenario. At least I'm hoping for it. But there is a way to circumvent all this too, though, is I don't know why these console manufacturers do not put up a website. You know, use the third-party retailers to help. You know, it's kind of like YouTube. You know, when you do a YouTube video and there's technically a paid advertisement in it, you know, a portion of the proceeds go to the person who did it, kind of thing. Go to bestbuy.com and they can help link people to this site, and Best Buy gets a cut of the proceeds of the sale of the console because they went through Best Buy's things. But what I'm getting at is these manufacturers need to have a pre-order system that allows people to go in and say that they want 1 or 2 consoles. And basically these guys that are going to go in, I want 20 consoles, they're not going to get through the system. You'd be like, no, you don't need 20 consoles. We know what you're trying to do. And basically just literally, I hate to use the expression, cut the snake off at the head. Just do it. Just basically make it to where these bots or resellers have no way of getting a mass supply to do this. And every person can go in and pre-order a console. And during this pre-order, you know how long it takes. It takes 90 days to manufacture an Xbox from the moment you know you need one to the moment it's in the person's hands. So you can literally, 90 days, I'm going to have a console. Rather than, I see people on social media all the time upset that they can't get one over on these people with bots. And there is people right now that would just be happy having a date.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. So I wasn't really gonna say much of anything. Go ahead, Everborn.
Oh yeah, I think the problem is like, how do you do that, right? Because they all want a way to like. It's not just a sale as a sale to Microsoft and Sony, right? What it is, if you have like, you know, thousands and thousands of just consoles sitting in a warehouse waiting to be scalped, those are people that, you know, those are people that are not taking the console home and playing it and buying your games and or services, right? And then when they go and pay twice the price for it on eBay or wherever, right, in a back alley, right, for the wrong kind of handshake, you know, they're not going to have any money left to go and buy your games and services. So I'm very sure that Sony and Microsoft do want to solve this problem. The question is how, because unless you're going to have like phone calls or you have to like send a blood sample, if it's going to be done through the internet, you can write a bot to go and do these things.
I forget where it was that Phil Spencer talked about it, but Phil Spencer even talked about the idea of a manufacturing pre-order, because he even made a comment saying that he actually knows an average amount of time that it takes to create a console at the rate that they're able to make them at right now. And that's where it's like, you know, at least in the way it is if you could tell somebody, if you give me $100 deposit today and your console will be ready for shipping on this date, they would feel very comfortable with that rather than it being this wild west of just trying to get your hands on something.
I 100% agree with that. Yeah. And, you know, as somebody said in the chat, it could be like an invite kind of thing in it. So meaning, you know, I have an Xbox Live ID, I have a PSN account, right? You have that, send me an email and just say, are you opting in? Okay, leave your deposit and it'll be available on this date, whether it's 3 months or 6 months from now.
And it's something you could keep to your communities as like a making sure that your communities are taken care of first. And then once you feel like that the demand for it is dying down, doing it that way, then start broadening the scope and saying, okay, we're going to start letting, you know, other people sign up for, you know, to get their hands on a console that don't have an Xbox account, Xbox Live account, but I know we're all looking at how the demand for consoles was back last gen, but last gen did not have the COVID pandemic all of a sudden make the demand for gaming just explode. There is more people in gaming now than there was at the start of last gen. And so I really think that we're going to see a very high, strong demand for gaming related products in general for a very long time.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up.
I know we're over here sounding
no, it's all good.
It's like now on Market
I
Watch.
love the discussion. I love it. I have no issues with the discussion. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. But once again, it was a phenomenal show. We had one of the amigos bounce out a little bit early. So shout out to Stag, man. Appreciate him here. Shout out to everybody that stuck around and has been watching the show, man. This is one of our longest shows, probably in like 2-3 years. To be honest, Everborn. That's not a bad thing. It's not a bad
Everborn didn't give you the warning, did he?
No, man. Look, man. I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about it. But shout out to you, Everborn. We've had such a great time. Time has flew by. Like time is flowing, and that's always a sign of a fantastic guest as well as a fantastic panel. So shout out to you, Everborn. No, that was not a negative thing at all. So I don't want you to think that, brother. We just had such a good discussion and was so much to talk about. That's definitely not a negative thing at all.
I only got halfway down my list of shit to say. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well, and those are all my notes.
Exactly. I broke into Pong's house last week.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. But no, go ahead. We're gonna start with you, Everborn, man. I just want to say I appreciate you being on the show. You've been amazing. Like I said, I'm a big fan of you and everything that you're doing as far as, your talent. And once again, everybody, if you guys are watching the show, do me a gigantic favor. His links in the description. Go check every single one. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him everywhere. Go support the Kickstarter. This man is doing a great thing. Support his dream. Support the vision. We want to continue to support talented people that are doing awesome things, that want to be a part of the community. And I just want to say, like I said, thank you for coming on. Just having so much fun. It's been an amazing show, and I hope you had fun here too, Everborn. But once again, let everybody know where they can find you at and what you got going on.
Oh yeah. Again, I want to say for the umpteenth time, thank you for having me, and I will be back anytime you will have me.
Absolutely.
This was a great time. So feel free to slide in the DMs anytime you need me. I'm here if I'm available. And thanks Pong and Fuzzy and Centurion and everybody. Stag. I know he's not here now, but thanks. Good conversation with everybody. But you can find me at everbornsaga.com. That is the link to our store where you can see all the comics and things that we're working on. So we have like art pieces for sale. You can see one behind me here. You can get like shirts and stuff. But the real big thing right now is check out the link in this description or at the top of the page at everbornsaga.com for a link to sign up to be notified when the Kickstarter goes live. And all I ask, just click that, notify me when it goes live, or share out the link. That's all the help we need. We want to get to 100 people watching it before we launch on March 1st. I think right now we're at 26, so we got just under a month to go. So very exciting. We're putting out another book very soon as well. And you can catch me on Xbox Live at Everborn Saga, as well as the PlayStation Network. And on Twitter, you can catch me at Steve AM, like the morning Johnson. And that's all I got. Thanks everybody. Thanks everybody that commented. And also all of you guys, if you haven't already, hit the like button.
Appreciate that, man. Please do that on your way out. Everybody here, I appreciate all the new people that I saw in chat. Please subscribe if you guys enjoyed the show. Let everybody know. Share out the link. The link will be up a little bit later on Twitter. That way, if you missed the show, you can go back and watch it on YouTube. No problem. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Pong. Just let everybody know what's cooking and what's going on, man.
Absolutely. As always, Pong Soul everywhere. Xbox and Twitter. Follow me. I'm almost to 500 followers on Twitter.
Nice.
So I'm gonna get there. So follow me. I'll follow you back. Obviously, love talking games. Appreciate everybody in chat for coming out. All my good friends in there. Everborn, always a pleasure, sir. Love listening to you. And now I've been on a couple shows with you, man. Just great stuff and truly a talented talented human being
Hide your
who
notes better next time.
deserves an audience, man. So appreciate you being here. PTK, Centurion, Fuzzy, Stag, even though you're not here, man, always a great show. Again, I appreciate every week that I'm on this, that I got invited to be a panel member. Just a great time to get my Saturday evenings started, or actually probably midway through at this point. But appreciate you all. Great discussions tonight, guys. Thank you, and have a great rest of your weekend.
All right, man. Go check out.
Hold on. Tomorrow, Green Pass Gaming.
Oh, yeah,
I will be on with the gentleman from the pond, across the pond. You should check them out. Some of the nicest guys in the business. Green Pass Gaming tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern. I will be there.
Awesome. It's a shout out to you, Pong, newest member of the Shop Podcast, man. But he feels like a vet for sure. You know, he got the vet aura around him already after about 5 or 6 shows. But man, we appreciate you being here. You're a huge part of the show as well. We're gonna keep this thing moving. So Centurion, man, let everybody know what you got cooking up, man.
Oh man. Well, for starters, thank you, gentlemen. It's been an awesome show, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Definitely like, share, and subscribe. Everybody here is an awesome individual. I couldn't be happier that I am actually able to be part of this show and able to chat games and everything in between every Saturday night with you guys. But for those interested, you can also find me at Centurion1307 on YouTube, Twitter, and Xbox Live. Like I was chatting with Shansu earlier, I am actually been kind of working on a few things on my channel. Don't ask me why. It's like I want to always update my channel in January. It's like new coat of paint, got to kind of add a few things, but also kind of like wanting to just kind of like highlight games more. So I'm actually getting ready to put out a video that's going to highlight the Werewolf the Apocalypse game.
Nice.
Kind of like it's kind of like I guess they're starting to take the World of Darkness pen and paper book RPG, and they're really wanting to explore this new avenue of putting it in games. I think that they've also done it with like Vampire the Masquerade, and this Werewolf the Apocalypse game. Honestly, it's not this graphical showpiece that's going to melt your eyes, but I think what's going to make up for it is it's a very original game, definitely very different. And I love the story so far. Man, I just don't want to get into too much of it. I definitely want to say you guys should check it out if you haven't seen it already. And I'm not talking about my video. I'm talking the game itself.
All right. Well, we greatly appreciate you here, Centurion. Once again, take his advice there. Go check the game out. Go check his YouTube channel out as well. Hopefully some new content coming soon, brother. So we appreciate
Hopefully. I know it's been
here.
crickets. I'm sorry, man.
No, it's all good, man. No, we waiting,
dude,
bro.
I've been doing like 50 plus hours a week, but I can't say no when they're like, you want overtime?
It's all good.
No, I hate making money. No.
It's all good, man. We glad to have you here every Saturday, brother, man. We appreciate everything you do, what you provide to the show as far as commentary, man. Couldn't do it without you. So last but not least, now, Everborn, if you've never seen the show, you got to break out the nicest coat and the oldest cognac you have.
This is the highlight to my every Saturday.
This is the highlight to the show.
Dude, this caps off my week every week. I'm glad it takes place Saturday night.
This is where we smooth things out, Everborn. So Fuzzy got the ASMR popping. Go check it out, by the way. But go ahead, Fuzz.
Well, I want to thank Everborn for joining us. It was great having the conversation on gaming. Very, very knowledgeable, very detailed. I greatly appreciate all the interaction. Always great to be on here with Stag, Pong, Centurion, PTK. This is the hobby I enjoy, so talking about it is just, the highlight of the week type of thing after a long work week. But greatly appreciate everybody joining us in the chat and everything. If you want to follow me, I'm usually on Twitter talking games or posting pics or something like that. So you can follow me at Fuzzy_Belvedere. You can find me on Instagram at Fuzzy Belvedere, all one word. On PSN, Fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live, Fuzzy Space Belvedere. More than likely playing a racing game, but as of more recently, probably playing Control. But awesome show, guys. Thanks again.
No OnlyFans?
No.
We still getting that put together. We're still putting that together. But either way, man. Last but not least, your host with the most, PTK Bland, man. Like I always say, across the board, hit me up on Xbox, hit me up on Twitter if you want to know what's going on, new things with the show. DMs are always open. Follow me on, like I said, hit me up on Xbox, add me there if you want to play some games. I'm always on doing something, probably playing Destiny, bunch of different stuff, whatever. But outside of that, you guys are fucking amazing. As I say every week, you guys are the reason why we do this show. The support that we get from you guys continues to push us every week. We're going to continue to try new things, get new people on. So just please continue to support us. Hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell on the way out. We appreciate you. So same time, same place next week. You guys enjoy your weekend. Please be safe. Wash your hands. All right, we ain't forgot. Please be safe. And we'll see you guys next week, man. We're out of here. Peace out, everybody.
Later, everybody.